Hi guys, so I and my family moved to Perth, Western Australia about 4 years ago, and in this video I've compiled a list of things I wish I knew before moving, or just general facts that I have learned living in the country for this period of time. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely keep watching. Welcome to my YouTube channel, guys. My name is Abisola Olu-Ojo, and I film about faith, family and lifestyle from Perth, Western Australia. If you're new here, thank you for tuning in. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video by the end. And if you're returning, hi guys, thank you for coming on my channel again. So I have about 10 or a few more general tips that I will be talking about on this video. If you're considering living in the country, I think that these are things you would like to hear about in no particular order, and they won't be serious things but just interesting facts about the country. So a brief background, guys. When I moved to Australia 4 years ago with my family, I was heavily pregnant at the time, so I was really tired and I didn't really go out much because I was expecting to have my baby, so I wasn't exploring the country as much as I would have loved. But when she was older, I started going out more and realized that there was so much to see about the country. So what I'll be sharing here are things based off my personal experience and observations. You may not agree with everything, and that's absolutely fine. In the comment section, I'll love to hear what you guys have to say, your own experiences or questions you might have. So my first point on this list is something that most likely only Nigerians can relate with. I'm Nigerian, by the way, and the first point will be that we only get to eat yam in winter. I know this is very hilarious, but it's one that pains me so much even till now because I love to eat yam so much. So winter for us here is mostly between June and September, I would say, where it's raining and really cold. And this is when Africans tend to import yam into the country. So when I came in initially, I had serious cravings for yam, but there was none at the time. So what I do now is whenever there's yam available in winter, I buy a lot of yam. I cut them up and I freeze them just so I'm able to eat for as long as I would like. Because yeah, we don't get yam every time, which is very funny, I know. But I thought to mention and start with that because yes, I'm a yam lover. My second point I want to share, things you should know about Australia, is that Aussies love to use slangs. See me already saying Aussie. So when I say Aussie, I mean Australians. Australians love to abbreviate every single thing that they say, and they have so many slangs. And when you come here, you'll find that you are lost in conversations because you have no idea what they are saying. An example or a few examples would be when they say, have you had brekkie? Brekkie is breakfast. I found myself wondering, like, okay, what did she just say? I have no idea what she's saying or he's saying. Another one would be, let me think, how are you traveling or how are you going? And you're like, I'm not traveling anywhere, or I'm not going anywhere. But what this mean is how are you doing? How are you feeling? Or how are you? So instead of saying how are you or how are you feeling or how are you doing, Australians say how are you going, or they say how are you traveling, which has had me confused several times. They also say things like avo. Avo is either afternoon, which is ARVO, or avo as in avocado, which is AVO. So many other slangs like that. So you would have to learn, because that's the only way you can socialize with them and acclimatize, when you learn a few of their slangs. There's so many more. I'm sure that if you go on the internet, you find a longer list of what most common Australian slangs are. They have so many and I get lost in conversations. But having been here for about 4 years, I've learned quite a few. So when I hear my fellow Aussies say it, I don't always get lost in conversations anymore. So my third would be, I won't count them because they may be more than I planned as I speak, and any more come to mind, I'll just say it. So the one I'm going to say next is how that Australians are very laid back. Well, let me not generalize and say all Australians. A huge chunk of Australians are very laid back, very chill. They don't like stress, in my opinion. I feel like Australians, when they have a relatively good job, that allows them pay their mortgage and allows them go on vacations. They are fine. That is all they want out of life. They are very content people. I don't find them to be as competitive as Nigerians or Asians, I would say, or other people. I don't want to generalize or say a particular group of people, but I find that most Australians are very chill. I found so many people who have been on the same job for 10, 15 years and are not eager to leave. You know, they are fine if they earn a decent income that allows them pay their mortgages, that allows them go on vacations as often as they would like. They are absolutely fine. They don't always decide to study as much, get a master's or do a PhD and all of that good stuff. They just, they're just very chill, very laid back people. A downside I find when I came in here was the fact that there's a very limited options for clothing and fashionable items at the stores. I don't get as many options as I would like, even back home in Nigeria, or say you're shopping in the US. And I think it's because Australians are very proud of owning whatever they sell. So their fruits, vegetables, clothing, retail stores, they like to sell Australian owned things, which I think is the reason why there's so limited options. I find myself having to shop from other countries and ship them to Australia for myself and for my children because I don't get everything that I want to buy in the country. But I have learned to make do to an extent. Just so I can't always ship stuff every time, but there's very limited options when it comes to shopping for my children. The most common stores in Australia would be H&M. There's Target, there's Kmart, there's Maya. Those are the popular places where we buy clothing from, but the quality is just okay for most of these stores, just okay. And if you want to buy really good quality stuff, fashionable designs, it's really hard. And I think I still struggle with that from time to time. It's just what it is. So the next thing I'm going to say is that Australia is an expensive country. When I just moved here with my husband, I found that whenever we go shopping, I was always converting the rates to my currency. And whenever I find out what the price is in my currency, I feel like I have high blood pressure. So what I would say to you is that if you come to the country, know that things are expensive, but it is what it is. Don't bother converting the rates to your currency, or it will just stress you out. There's no need to do that. It is what it is. You have to buy stuff, you have to survive, you have to eat food. So don't keep converting the rates to your currency to say, okay, if I was in Nigeria or if I was in the UK, how much would this thing be? It's stressful. Don't do it. Just buy what you need to buy. But I would say and put it out there that Australia is quite expensive as a country. So the next thing I'm going to say is that I live in Perth, Western Australia. It's a really big country. It's beautiful. It's very kid-friendly, very family-oriented. I would also mention that there are 6 states in Australia, and Perth, Western Australia is where I live, and it is the biggest state of the 6. If you're Nigerian, I would say compare Perth to Ibadan. That's Oyo State, Ibadan. Very chill, very relaxed, no stress. Sydney is another popular state in Australia. That is Lagos of Australia. The hustle and bustle, very busy, very lively. And let me also put it out there that if you come into the country looking for a job, you are most likely to get a job faster in Sydney than you will in Perth. But that's not to limit the favor of God, right? I wouldn't limit God's favor. Wherever you are, you can find a job. It just depends largely on your qualification and your experience. So yeah, Perth is very chilled, and it's really a very chill, family-friendly place. I've been here 4 years and I'm not exactly thinking of leaving to a different state. I love being in Perth, Western Australia. So the other thing that I found out when I came, remember guys, I said I was pregnant when I came, so this might be a different experience for you, but I found that, and you will also find if you come into the country, that having your own rental accommodation in the beginning can be very stressful. It's a lengthy process that can burn you out. What will most likely happen when you come in is that you may have to first stay in a shared apartment before you finally get your own place for yourself and your family, or even if you come by yourself. So I came with my kids and my husband, and when we came in, we had to stay in a shared apartment. So what that is a flat of maybe 4 or 5 bedrooms that the owner has decided to let out for people who need temporary accommodation. If you're single, you let out a room. If you have a small family, you let out another room. So we were in a place like that for about 3 weeks before we found our own place. And what that also requires is that you apply for rental properties online on this site. And when you finally find a place that you like, you have to book for a day to view the property. And when you view and you like the place, you have to apply. And in the application form is also a very lengthy process. They will ask you for references. References are those that can vouch for your for you and say that, okay, you're a responsible person. And then even when you find references, you would also need proof of funds, showing that you can afford the place you're planning to rent out. So I found it very stressful because the form will even ask you for rental history. I mean, I'm new in the country, I don't have rental history, but that's something you can explain to the real estate agents, and then I think that's negotiable. But you will find that before you finally settle down, it does get a bit stressful in the beginning, but with time you settle down and everything will be fine. I also want to point out that Australia is a country that they love barbecue. They love to eat barbecue. There's a major barbecue culture here. If you have friends inviting you over, they'll say, "We'll come over for barbecue." Like that's like the only thing that they find as an attraction to people when they invite you to have barbecue at their place. I like it. I love meats. Let me say. I love to eat meat, so that is a major culture that Australians have. If you go to parks, if you go to the beach, you'll find a stand that allows you make barbecue if you want to, which is really cool, by the way. Yeah. Another thing that I would like to mention about Australia is the fact that the road rules are so different, very different. It took me a while to understand driving here, and even now, to be honest, there are times where I get confused and I'm thinking, oh, do I have the right of way? Does she have the right of way? Yeah, it gets confusing, but the road rules are something you definitely have to learn and understand when you're living in the country. Yeah, I also recall that when I moved here, so many of my friends were asking me that we know that Australia is a country that has wildlife, like you see lions in front of your house. No, the animals that are most popular for Australia is kangaroos, and it's not as if you see them right outside your door every day. Yes, we are known to have wildlife, but it's not as scary as so many people make it sound. No, it's not. What we most likely have is spiders and bees, and then in summer, which is in December, the heat of summer, we have so many flies. But when they tell you that Australia has a lot of wildlife, it's not as scary as so many people make it seem. No, I don't know about other states if they experience possums and wallabies coming to their houses and snakes everywhere, but I've not had it that bad. I haven't even seen a snake since I moved here. In 4 years, I've seen spiders, I've seen bees, I've gone to the park and I've seen kangaroos, yes, but it's not as scary as that, guys. It's a lovely place to live in. I love living here. Yeah, so I don't want to bore you guys with too much information in this video, but I hope you've enjoyed watching to this very point. If you would like me to do more, I'm happy to. Just let me know down in the comment section. But above all, let me mention one before I go. It's a very diverse country. I believe that it's the second most diverse country in the entire world. Canada is the first, and then Australia is the second most multicultural country. This rhymes. Yeah, so we have people from all walks of life. It's really diverse, and I believe that according to statistics, almost 30% of Australians are born overseas. You know, they're not Australians. Nobody owns Australians. The true owners are called Aboriginals. They owned the land before it was colonized by the British. But almost everybody here is from somewhere, so nobody can tell you that they are Australian per se, if you see what I mean. So we have Sudanese, we have South Africans, we have Asians, we have Indians, we have Indonesians, just very diverse. And I find that that's why so many organizations try to be inclusive, so it's not seeming like they favor one country over the other. So you find companies that have people from different countries and different tribes, which is really good. I love the diversity, so I know that I'm meeting different kinds of people every time I'm here. Yeah, it's a place that you want to visit, you want to live in, you want to explore. There's so much to explore. And unfortunately, right now, because of COVID, we can't travel around the country like I would have loved to. But I trust that when things get better, I'll definitely explore the country even more. Even just being in WA alone, there's so much to see and explore. It really is a beautiful country that I know that when you come in the right way, you will thrive and be successful. I love living here. A quick disclaimer, guys, I don't know it all. I may not have said things that you agree with, but these are just based off my own personal experiences, and I'm not the person to ask questions about visa processing. No, don't ask me. I have a good friend who also has a YouTube channel, and she has a huge chunk of information on her channel about living, working, and thriving in Australia. And what I'll do is I'll put the link to her channel down below so you can have a look, and if you have any questions, feel free to send her an email. Yeah, so that is all I wanted to share here, guys, today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please make sure to click the like button, make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, I'll see you on my next video, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.